I'm DaJuan Johnson. Welcome to the Think Bigger Actors podcast, where I share with you different kinds of talks and coachings and conversations with actors and industry professionals on thinking bigger. I hope these conversations will help you on your path to success, because I believe success is an inside job that starts with your mindset and the thoughts you hold dominant in your mind. Change your thoughts and you change your world. Your path to thinking bigger begins now. Welcome to the Think Bigger Actors podcast. I'm your host, DaJuan Johnson, and today we are digging into the Think Bigger Actors retreat that I just held. I am so excited. I am so pumped. I am still buzzing off of this Think Bigger Actors retreat. And, to help me do this, I'm letting you listen to day one of the retreat, where guest speaker Cara Chute Rosenbaum came in to speak and work with actors. Yes, hands-on work with actors. Look. I thought to myself, instead of doing, we had day one, we had 3 days. It was a three-day event. But instead of having like day one just be like a welcome event where people came and we did a welcome, thing, I was like, what if we jumped right into work on day one? What if we did like a live podcast instead of just a mix or a mingle or something like that, which is cool. Those are great. What if we just did a live podcast? And it was so great. It was, look. I wasn't messing around with this retreat. I know what actors want, because I'm an actor. I know what you want. I know what we want. I know you want to hear directly from casting directors, showrunners, directors, reps. But more than that, you want some feedback on your own personal work. Can I get a yes? So we did that. 3 actors got selected to submit a self-tape, and Cara watched them live and gave in the room feedback. And boy, did she not disappoint. I just have to say it's kind of easy for her though, but if we're going to be honest with each other, it's kind of easy for her because she really does love actors. She loves them. I know that's why I kept having her, come in all my stuff. Well, she probably loves me most. Anyway, but seriously, this was the consistent piece of feedback that I got over and over from the, feedback forums about the survey, was how everyone seemed to really love working with actors and that they were happy to be there. All my guests were happy to be there, and there was this awesome through line, throughout the entire thing about like working with actors, making sure we can help you get to your next level, and really giving you actionable steps, things you can take away, inside of the Think Bigger. Once you were done with the Think Bigger Actors Retreat, I don't just invite anyone up in my house. You know what I mean? This was my house, and I want to make sure that it was amazing. And Cara's combo that you'll hear in just a hot minute is coming up. It's coming up. And of course, you're gonna want to stick around for the D12 shot at the end, where I bring it all together. Yes, all of that. But first, I just want to slow everything down and say, the Think Bigger Actors Retreat was everything and more that I dreamt of. I just want to make sure I thanked everyone who was in attendance there, everyone who was sending me well wishes who could not make it, everybody who just kept saying over and over again, I wish you had a virtual option. I can't be there. I felt you there. I just want to say I feel you, and your well wishes were well received. Listen, actors flew in from Hawaii, Portland, DC, Florida, Colorado, Arizona, and of course, they were here from Los Angeles as well. I was just in awe. This has been a baby of mine for, I want to say, gosh, at least 5 or 6 years. I've been thinking about this since before the pandemic, and everyone, got what they came for and more. And yes, don't worry about it. If you missed this event this time, I will be doing this event again next year. It's an annual thing that I plan to be doing. I can't stop there. The dream is only going to get bigger. It's only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So you want to make sure that you are in the room for that. And I just want to say one more time, thank you, Think Bigger Tribe. Thank you, Think Bigger Tribe, for rocking with me. All right, our guest, Cara Chute Rosenbaum, casting director. She came in and she sat down with us and laughed a little bit and almost cried a little bit. It was just like a session. She looked at self-tapes a little bit, and oh man, we talked and we had so much fun for this. But this was a little bit different because she hadn't really been in person with actors and seen them in person since the pandemic and stuff because they're not in rooms. So when I asked her to come, she jumped on it. She was like, yeah, DaJuan, I'm there, and so that was just awesome and it was great. But here are a couple of things we talked about: self-care and personal well-being. She emphasized the importance of self-care, she shared her personal experiences with her sister. That was fantastic and unexpected. She talked about mastering self-tapes and, they're the norm. They are the norm of self-tapes. I got a story about self-tapes I'll tell you in just a second. And it's a good one. It's a really, really, really good story. But she talked about authenticity over gimmicks. Whew, you know what I mean? Everybody's trying to stand out with flashy gimmicks or hopping on one foot, or they heard you got to get the casting director's attention. Oh my God, that talk was so fantastic. But, and she also talked about how casting directors really want us to succeed. Man, I know there's a lot of people out there that's telling that maybe they're thinking this or they're not really knowing casting directors, but they do want you to succeed because if you succeed, they succeed too. But it's not even that selfish. It sounds selfish because everybody does get to be a little bit selfish. You don't get to be selfish. I want you to succeed so I can do well at my job. But also, casting directors like Cara really just love freaking actors. You got to love freaking actors. And not like, you got to love what you do. So anyway, it's a great talk. I just can't wait to see you on the other side. There's one thing that she said that really brought it home for everybody, and I cannot wait for you to hear it. Can you guess it? You're going to have to guess it because I'm going to talk about it in the D12 shot. I'm writing notes right now about the D. Okay, I'm going to be quiet. All right, I'm out of here. Get out of here. I'll see you on the other side when I bring it all together. Hi, everybody. Would you all join me and welcome Cara Chute Rosenbaum to the pod? Casting director extraordinaire. I've tried to work with you as much as possible because I believe, and maybe you have me fooled, but I believe that you care so much about actors.
Oh, I do.
And,
I hope you're not fooled. That's real. I don't think anybody would do what I do if we didn't care about an actor.
And I have to say, there was I had seen you, we had been around, you had been on my stuff, and there was this little time that you stopped being out there, and I just sent you a message, and I was like, I just looked because I think we're friends, and I was just like, hey, I haven't seen you in these internet streets. You all right? Like, you know what I mean? And that's what I call them, the internet streets. And I'm happy you're all right is what I'm saying here for it. And you were noticed. You were missed when you were.
Yeah, thank you. It's interesting. I didn't know we were gonna start off on this note, but what I think we forget so often is that we're all people. Mm-hmm. And we all got struggle. Yeah. And my sister died, and unexpectedly, and I disappeared, and it's hard, and it's still going to be hard. But I say that, and I appreciate it, and I hear all the faces and the sighs and the things, but that is what we forget, is that we're all people who do this. That we do this for craft and for passion and for love and for career, but that at the end of the day, you got to prioritize what matters to you. Yeah. And we're here talking about mindset, which is why I bring this up, because your mindset matters and you can't pour from an empty cup.
No, you cannot.
And when something happens to you in your life, it makes you reevaluate the way that you think, the way that you perform, the way that you want to be, and the way that you want to pour into other people. And it's really important to take care of number one.
Yeah.
So
I agree with that. And thank you for sharing that. I think my thought on that was just more so that I just wanted you to know that you're more than just, let me just get a job.
No.
Or let me, you know what I mean? I know, we don't have that, but I think we forget that. And as a human, I was like, I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I just wanted to check on you.
and make sure.
I know you knew. We're like
I was like,
each other.
where you been?
Where you been? She was out. She was not good. She could not be on the internet.
Right. Understood there. You know, one of the things I wanted to ask you is that we are in a state of the world. I talk about mindset, everybody. And one of the things that certain things are what they are, but I wanted to just see what is the state of the union with self-tapes right now in this world as a casting director. And I know a lot of people are doom and gloom, but I also just think, well, I'll get to the other side of that. But I just wanted to say, where are we in the state of the union? What are you thinking with self-tapes and all that stuff like that?
I think it's funny we're still talking about self-tapes as if they're going anywhere.
Right.
Like, I think it is so strange to still be having this conversation of like, so self-tapes. And I'm like, you mean the way we all do business? Yes, that is the standard. That is how people work in this day and age. That is what we do. And we've gotten really good at it. And some people now are preferring it, which is wonderful and magical. And I know you posted that thing the other day about the virtual option. We can talk about that too. But the real unsolved tapes is that's how we work. That's how we're doing things. And so you need to make sure that is a muscle that you're flexing, that is that is something that you are getting good at. That's something that you feel confident in. It's not just I get the audition and I got to scramble to put a self tape together. Right. Because if you are not confident in those skills, guess what that means? You need to be practicing them. You can't just jump into running a marathon. You got to practice first. And there are some folks who have done enough self taping and that understand exactly what they like, exactly what their setup is, exactly who their reader is going to be, and so they don't have to practice as much anymore. But there really is an art to it, and I am not saying it's a perfect system by any means. I think there's a lot of pressure on actors, a lot of pressure about like the right lighting and the right this and the right that. But at the end of the day, we got to see and hear you and understand and feel your acting and feel connected to you in that tape. If we don't, then you're not getting the job, and you probably wouldn't be able to bring that stuff into the room anyway. You know what I mean? So there's this romanticizing of the in the room audition that has happened of like the way things used to be were so great. Oh my God. I used to love driving for 2 hours in traffic and looking for that parking meter and then getting the ticket and then sitting in the lobby when they were running 2 hours behind with the walls that were the thinnest walls in all of Hollywood. And I could hear everybody and every decision that they were making in the room, and I could hear them chit-chatting inside and knew that they were still going to run 15 minutes behind. And then I saw DaJuan in there and I was like, man, DaJuan booked that last job that I went out for. I can't believe this motherfucker here again. And like, I mean, like, there's so many things that were wrong with the room. And it's not, again, it's not a perfect system. I am not saying it's a perfect system, and I'm not saying that I have the answers, but I think we are always like the grass is always greener on the other side. And yes, there are people that are going to miss that stuff, but you are more than capable of showing your work in a self-tape.
That was great. That was great. I used to make a little joke that I don't know what rooms everybody else was going in, but I feel like everybody, like, did they cheer for when people went in the rooms or something? Or I felt like from the other side, people were like, they got an Afghan, they got some tea, and they were like, go, Cheryl. And like literally that was not, and I'm not saying anybody was rude or nothing, but it was like somebody operating a camera, reading with me and looking up. I was like acting with the top of a head. And not to say that like a lot of people were great. I'm not saying that was bad, but all rooms were not great. Yeah. They were not. And you know what you referenced was I had the option to do a virtual audition or put something on self-tape for this show. And I remembered, I let everybody else, not everybody else, but I let the group actor think of, but we need to get back in the room. I was so great in the room. I let that get into my mind. And I was like, well, let me do it. But I honestly, you all, and I say this to everybody, I think self-tapes honestly gave me my life back.
Yeah. Yeah.
It literally gave me my life back. And so I could audition on my own time. Mm-hmm. I could now I can get the best take. I knew my work. And I wasn't scared in the room. Right. And I'm going to be completely honest with everybody. I was one of those actors that I can probably say benefited from going in the room because I was already on shortlist. I was already producer sessions. So I skipped a lot of those things from what I think, by the way. I don't know, because I say that because...
Mindset.
But one of the things that I really, you've helped me understand is I might think that's what, I skipped and went to producers, there was 5 people. But what I never thought about, because I only think about myself sometimes, but what I never thought about was That's only day one. Maybe you guys had day 2 and day 3 where there's other producer sessions and stuff like that. Or maybe they had 5 people in the room that I'm like, all right, it's between 1 and 5, but maybe there were 5 more tapes of people who could not. I did not think that. And so for me, now when I had to drive across, go to Paramount or go, up in Larchmont, now that I don't have to do that and I literally get to like go at 8 o'clock in the morning, throw something on tape and then take my kids to school or drop my kids off and go to, I got my life back.
Huge.
Do you know what I mean? I was not scared to leave town anymore. And so I'm happy about Self-Tape Show. I really, really, really am. And I can show my best work. And I got the people. I know where I'm going. I got the tape.
And listen, like I loved being in the room. And I think there's a difference between that energy of feeding off of somebody and the interpersonal experience of being able to like put names to faces, especially on your guys' end. Because you're like, this is just a name that I don't know. And I don't know that they know that I know that they know that they're a person. And listen, like, and I loved that experience of being in the room and meeting people and doing all of that. Like, it was great, but we've pivoted and we do it differently. And there's opportunity still. The opportunity has not gone away. Now it's gone away in other ways because it's a desert right now out there and the content is just not as much as we've seen. And we're still clawing our way back from that. But that is not indicative of the way we do auditions. Like, that is something completely separate. And then, like you said, I think the fact that it allows people freedom to not have to worry about paying their bills that month because they got to call off their shift to drive to Santa Monica for an audition at 4 p.m. Like that is life stuff. That opens doors for people to live the way that they want to live, or parents, or play. Yeah,
like I don't feel like I have to live in Los Angeles anymore.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? I have never thought that I have dreamed. I was like, well, what about Boston? Like, and my husband's like, you don't like the cold. I'm like, let's not go to Boston. For that. I'm flaky like that, y'all. I'm like, I do not like to be cold. So great. Let's not talk about self-tapes anymore. I love what we talked about when we get to see some of the tapes and what you're seeing right now. Are you seeing actors like really stepping up to that caliber in their work now with the tapes? Are you seeing is there still just like a divide of like people are green as AF or they're not putting in the work, or is it like the people, the cream of the crop? How's that saying go?
The cream rises.
The cream rises?
I think it's always clear when someone's done the work.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I think across the board, you watch a tape and you're like, that person has such a good understanding of the world we're building. They've made choices that are applicable and appropriate. They have found a way to contain this for the audition, and they understand the assignment, right?
Yeah.
And then there are the people who are like, I just got to stand out and this is my one shot and I'm just going to throw everything against the wall and see what sticks. Yeah. And I think you could kind of break that down into green and not if you wanted to, but I think it's really a pressure thing. And it's a pressure that actors take on themselves about when they get this audition, this is their one shot to show and stand out. And this, idea has become make the big choice, do the big thing. And so people are thinking about that instead of the assignment. What am I supposed to do here? What is the world? What is the tone? What is the goal? What are the relationships?
What is a big choice? What does that mean? Like, I don't know what that means. Does that mean like jump on one foot?
Yeah, kind of. It kind of means do something kooky to stand out so that you're memorable. So you're trying to be memorable instead of like the work being memorable.
Yeah, I'd rather be memorable with like, oh, that guy's a good actor.
Right.
And then they're like,
I'd rather that too.
He's not right for this, but we'll see him for something else.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I think people just want to be there. There's this like idea that we are watching so many tapes, we can't keep track of who we're watching, and we're only watching 3 seconds of each tape. So they got to stand out and do something big to make us keep watching at the beginning. But what always stands out to me is good work. And if I see something that I'm connected to in the first 3 seconds of the tape, that's what makes me keep watching.
Yeah.
But people think they gotta do tips and tricks and get creative with the editing and
music. I've seen music and I've seen lighting where they're dimmed it and
ambient noise, like bar noise in the background of a scene, or like it just crazy. And also the problem, not the problem, I don't want to call it a problem, but you have these self tapes from some actors that circulate that are a little bit weird. Everybody talk about that Dacre Montgomery tape from years ago, and like people are like, oh, so I got to do that. And it's like, no, man, that was his tape. Leave him alone.
Right.
Leave Dacre alone.
Yeah.
Like, that was his tape. That was his thing. If that's not your lane, don't try to force yourself into that lane. Stay in your lane. Do your work. That tape stands out because it was awesome, and his work was awesome. And if you've ever been in a room with that guy, that's what he's like. So,
I think it's important. What I like to say, let's reference the podcast 5 minutes ago where I was like, I don't want to, I got my life back. And I feel like I don't want to now I got to sit there and put ambient noise or I got to dim the lights and I have to that's not my life back.
Also, we're not hiring you to be a Foley artist.
We are not hiring you on production team.
No, I'm not. And I say this all the time. I'm not hiring you for costumes. I'm not hiring you for your hair and makeup or for writing if you're trying to add too much stuff into this scene or I'm not. Right. I am hiring you to be an actor. So be an actor.
Right.
You know what I mean? But there's all this pressure to do all this stuff.
Where's the pressure coming from? Because I hear you about that pressure. I don't have that pressure, and I'm going to give you a little secret. This is the one secret, or we talk about this, and please, I don't want to say please. I know you will. If I'm not right on it, you're going to be like, that's not. You're going to call you out on that. But I'm going to be honest with you. I don't try to do anything out of the norm on that first 10 seconds or whatever. Here's my secret: be dropped in as fuck.
Yeah.
Be amazingly dropped in. If you want, for me, I'm if I want to pull you in, it's because I am dropped in. I know what's going on. I have the moment before. I have all of that stuff. I'm not bouncing or doing anything like that. I'm literally just dropped in and I'm listening.
Yeah.
And so we think we got to do something different, but why don't we just do what we came to do?
Well, that and I always think it's funny.
Maybe it's not a good point.
No, it is. But what it reminds me of is you would never do the crazy thing on set. You know what I mean? Once you got to set, you wouldn't be making all this.
You would not.
You wouldn't be standing on one foot and doing the lighting and doing all this stuff. So do what you would do on set, which is be dropped in, which is know your environment, which is have all of this experience and think about your moment before. That is the work you would be doing on set for sure. So why are you going to do something different for that audition?
I think actors, because we've turned in 100 tapes and now we're on that 101 we're I gotta be different. Something has to hit on something like that. But here's what that saying, and I could be wrong, I don't know the saying. My husband says I'm really bad at sayings because I'm if it walks like a duck, it's an ace. I'm really bad at that. But also you don't know how close to that finish line you are.
Yes.
All of a sudden you could really be doing great work and then you tweak it because you're that 100, you're I haven't got it, so I'm going to tweak it. But you don't know that next one could be the one that hits and you went and changed the whole thing.
Yeah.
And so that's really, really, really important. And I've told you all stories about how I was pissed because I didn't get the top of show guest on NCIS Hawaii. And then they called me back for another episode. I'm sorry, for another role in that same episode. But then when I got to set, the producer came up to me, writer said, we've seen all of your tapes that you've been sending in over while you've been auditioning, not just for this. And he's and we said for this, let's get him for a role that might recur. And that's not something I would know. That's not something casting directors would have told me. But when that person said that, they said, and I was pissed that I was I didn't get the top of show. I just got the guest, but the guest was gonna recur. Mm-hmm. So it's we let's not change this just because we get to that finish line. We're I got to change something. I don't know, something like that. As I know we're about to land this because you're going to secretly, give us not recorded. We're going to go over some tapes, some audition tapes with everybody out there. But if you could leave us actors with, something in this desert, this challenging times. I don't think they're challenging, y'all. I think what if we looked at it as this is the business? What if we really looked at this as this is our business? There's ups, there's downs, there's a stock market crashing. What if we just looked at this we think somewhere we've been sold this has to be up and up at all times. But what if this is just a business? So I don't want to say it that way, but can you leave us with something amazing?
Can you make it better?
I just want to I think sometimes, again, I'm not a toxic positive guy, but I think about strategies. I don't want to live my life in this place where I'm always down.
Oh yeah.
And so for me, it's okay, great. This is the industry. What do we want to do about it? Because none of us have to be here.
No. And I think above all things is you just have to find your joy. That's it. Like if this is not joyful for you, then it's not worth it.
Yeah.
And so where can you put joy back into this? Where can it in it? Is it in community? Is it in your team? Is it in your life? Where can you put joy back in? If you're not feeling that joy, you're not going to be doing your best work.
You're not.
And that's mindset for sure. But it also the people who have been doing this for years and years and years and understand the peaks and valleys, and that you're going to go through seasons of your life where things are going to be hard, that you have to find a way to show up for yourself and to show up for others around you. And again, like it has to be joyful. We are doing this because we love it. And so if you lose that, you're not in a place where you're going to be doing your best work. So listen, I think it's a hard battle because everybody's journey is so different, because everybody's craft is so different. And especially when I'm looking at an audition, like we're going to later, I am not, I'm looking at the individual person and what they're bringing to the table, right? I'm looking at what that person is bringing to a role, what they're bringing to life, and what their capabilities are in the moment. And you can't work on that if it is a grind and boring and hard and I'm frustrated, and just like you're never going to be able to find that light and that joy. So whatever you have to do to really bring that into your life, I think,
and that might
important.
be taking a break for a little bit too.
Yes,
that might be, and
absolutely.
that's okay. Like that might be. I think
off
that was
these
always
internet
taboo.
streets.
Get off these internet streets, you know. But that is okay. I think we can say that too. Sometimes you can just like take a moment. Go see family, go do something, go hike, or like that used to be so taboo when I was like starting as an actor. Like if we left the industry, it must mean you don't love the industry.
Oh my God, yeah. And I think you have to love other things, right? Like you have to have a life outside of this. So if you also are finding yourself in a space where you're only taking classes and studying and reading every book and doing all the things, and like you have nothing outside of acting at the moment, like go take a pottery class. You know what I mean? Like do something to turn off your brain for a second and let that settle, because you got to get outside of yourself and move it through your body a little bit. I like love somatic work, and I think like your body is your instrument as an actor, and so it is so important to make sure that it is working for you and that it is tuned the right way. And sometimes that means literally going on a hike, taking a class, doing something else outside of this work so that you can come back to it with fresh energy. It's tough.
I'm getting called to ask you one last question.
Oh, I love it.
And yes, this keeps coming. It keeps coming. I'm getting called to ask you one last question. What do you wish actors knew? Like, what do you wish we knew that maybe we're misrepresenting the casting, or misrepresenting that, group actor thing? Like, what do you wish we knew? Maybe it's about what casting does. Maybe it's about like something. But
I know. I was like, my first instinct is to say how much paperwork my job involves. Because like for real, y'all don't even know about the paperwork. You just think I'm sitting there clicking through auditions all day. No, there is paperwork, honey.
Yes.
What do I wish? I like say it all the time, and I think it feels cheesy, but it like is the thing that I always go back to, which is that like we want you to succeed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I would never give someone an audition that I thought they weren't going to book. That's not worth my time.
Yeah.
That's not worth your time.
Yeah.
Why am I going to be like, you read for this? You're going to be terrible at it.
Where does that come from?
Like what?
Because that is true. Because what actors do on our side, let me hear this part of it, is we look at this and like, this is not right for me. Why would she send me out for this? We're immediately Xing ourselves out of it.
Yep. All the time. And it happens so often, and it's because of 1,000 reasons that we don't have time to get into here. I mean, we can, but it also when casting is brought in. Do you see me have 6 thoughts at once, and they all try to come out of my mouth at the same time? Casting comes into this process so early, right? We are sometimes on before directors are. And so we are working with scripts that are very early drafts that are going to be revised and rewritten, often are revised and rewritten to fit the person we cast. So they're not even got the right lines in there because they don't have you in there yet. So you get these things and you're like, what in God's green earth did they think I am? We're trying something. We want to see you do it. We don't want to see your idea of what you think we think is on the page doing it. We want to see you do it. We're trying something different with it. If it doesn't innately scream you, it says it says 50s and Latina and you're 30s and Black, and you're like, why? It means we want to see you and your voice, give your voice to it and give it a try and see where it goes. And
that shifts something for me, by the way.
Good.
I mean, I don't. Does that shift? Doesn't that shift? It shifts something for that.
And we have creative conversations. You know, again, we're the first in the door, right? And we have these creative concept meetings. We take this script that's just black markings on a paper, and we say, okay, here's all the rules that we need. This is how it's written. But how do you really see it? And that's when the director goes, you know what, open that up. Like, actually, I think it'd be really interesting. I know it says 20s on the page, but actually it'd be really interesting if it was like up to 50s. And we go, okay. But then you get the sides and it says 20s and you're so confused. We've already had the conversation, guys. You got to trust the conversation was had, because otherwise I wouldn't call you in. It's not worth my time. I don't want to sit there and go through bad auditions. I don't want to sit there and go through auditions that aren't right. And guess what? If I'm sending auditions that aren't right to my producers, that's a reflection on me, not you. Right? So like, I also have a job at stake. I also have something to prove. Right. And it's that I understand, and I'm trying to match talent to whatever this vision is here. And my creative team is trusting that we are on the same page and know how to do that. So again, you get something that you automatically X yourself out for, and you're starting from negative column, man. Like you do it to yourself
and you're
every
upset.
time.
You're like mad. It's seeping in the audition and stuff like that.
And again, that's not to say you might have a genuine question about something and it'll be like, in my bones, I think this is wrong for me, and you need to ask about it. That's a different story,
that's
right?
Singing for me usually when they must sing, and I'm like, I can't sing. Like,
yeah,
what are we gonna do?
But then you ask, and you say like, I can't sing,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh yeah, let's hold up,
Yeah.
right? Or like the agent submitted you for just the wrong thing and said you could do something that you actually can't.
Yeah.
I've had that happen before, but we clarify and we say, yes, we still want to see it, or no, actually, let's hold off. Have the conversation. Right? Like, it's important to open those lines of communication and have the conversation. But I will tell you that like 8 times out of 10, we're just trying to see what you're going to bring to it and what life you're going to give it. Yeah. And so that's a matter of trust. That's us opening up a dialogue with you and saying, I trust that you're going to do a good job with this. You know, prove me right. Yeah. And instead of prove me wrong, prove me right. Prove to me that this is worth it out of
or how
all
about
the people.
blow my mind?
Blow my mind.
Like, really let me just see it's an opportunity to play, play, have fun. You know, I think we just weren't taught that. We were taught to like look, you know, at this and like what's familiar with. What do you see in yourself in this? And instead, you know, that's how we X ourselves out.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I love that. Like I said, I don't know. I was just called to ask that question.
No, I love that. And I think also this speaks to like, you know, you have a task, right? We talked about the assignment. You have an assignment, but figure out how to bring yourself to the assignment, right? Not twist yourself into what you think we think the assignment is.
We're bad mind readers.
Yeah, you're really bad. And you'll let like one little thing on the page just ruin you, right? Yeah. Like one little stage direction or one little modifier or adjective, like it says rude in there, and then all of a sudden you are just the worst person you've ever met in your life, an impression of you know, whatever, and we've lost you in it, right? Because you're trying to do something so hard. So again, like not falling for that and really embracing what it is about you and what life you're gonna bring the work.
I love it. Great place to end, huh? Guys, can you all join me in thanking Cara Chute Rosenbaum?
Thank you, guys.
Come on.
I told you that talk was great. I wish you could see it. Like, you know what I mean? I don't, gosh, it was such a great moment, such great nuggets she dropped. So freaking exciting. But you know, if you guessed this to be my D12 shot, then it was this one line. I wouldn't call you in if you couldn't book it. I wouldn't call you in. She wouldn't call you in. Casting directors would not call you in if they didn't think you could book it. That blew my mind. I want you to let that sink in. Casting directors are rooting for us. They see our potential, our unique spark. Even when we don't see it, they see it in us. They want us to succeed because our success is their success. Again, let that sink in. I know it feels different. I know, listen, I'm raising my hand right now because I know how hard it is and frankly frustrating it is to trust the process. I'm a recovering, I'm not right for this role actor. That's what I'm recovering from, because as soon as I used to get the audition, I used to look for reasons the breakdown or the audition was not right for me. If it wasn't exactly for me, if it said that they're looking for somebody that plays basketball or baseball or something like that, I was like, that's not me. I'm not doing it. Or it said, it needed an older person that can sing. It said someone in their 50s. Nope, not me. Instead of thinking, yeah, this is a chance for me to play. This casting director wouldn't call me in if they didn't think I could book it. Now I pick up every audition with my thinking, feeling, doing, saying method. And I ask myself, how is this like me? What can I bring to this role? How much of me is already in this? And how much of it do I have to go out and get? Yeah. Cara reminded me that auditions aren't about being perfect. They're about showing our true selves, our authentic performances. Not about gimmicks or trying to stand out with flashy choices. It's about understanding the character, the material, and bringing that to life in the most genuine way possible. No tips and tricks. You know that about me. Strategies only. Get in there. Character, material, bring it to life. I promise you. If you get one thing from my podcast, this is the one thing I really try to teach in my First Team Collective and in Self-Tape Set book. It's this: bring you to the role. You. Not some tips and tricks. People, what people are out there trying to get you to do. Bring you. And I love that Cara brought that back. It was like, remember, bring you, authenticity, bring you. Trust the process. I'm going to tell you, it's only hard if you make it hard. It's only hard if you make it hard. So, don't quit. Don't get out of line. Borrow my faith in you. And at all costs, hold the vision, not the circumstance. Hold the vision, not the circumstance. I hope you like this one. You know where to find me. You know where to find me up on the gram. Tag me in this one. This is a great one. Let me know, what was your favorite takeaway, and I'll see you. I'll see you on the next one. I love these so much.